Hey guys, made this video because after last practice, there were a lot of ideas about how we want to fix things, and I think something that was said is that we want to go back to the basics of hex, and this is my take on what that could be, just to get us more aligned. There are two tips that I'll go over, and they're basically the same as the ones in the video that CT sent, but I'll just try to introduce a little bit of nuance and show how they're applied to our practice. The first is maintaining shape and putting in effort to create that shape both before play and during play. So as you can see here, this is right after white turned the disc, and we're sort of taking our time to pick up the disc. We need to set up with a little more urgency because we don't have that much time officially to get the disc, and if we do it quicker, then the defense doesn't have much time to set up on us. The next tip is to inward turn and to look for return passes, which kind of go hand in hand. Here, Steven gets the disc after Raymond cuts in, and he outward turns into looking at a space that is completely empty. And he misses an opportunity to throw it to Joe in the center of the field, where there's plenty of space to work with. I end up inward turning here when I go up line. I don't get the return pass to Wilson, but I do see an opportunity to give it to Joe in the middle, and we're able to swing it all the way across the field. Here's another outward turn, and where Calvin misses an opportunity to return it to Steven. And we've lost a lot of our shape here. Most players are in front of the disc. Wilson does a good job of coming back to fill in as a handler. But we need other players to fill in the rest of the spots as well. Raymond turns inward here and looks off the return pass to Calvin, which is fine. But Calvin continues his upline cut and ends up cutting off CT at this moment. Calvin did the right thing by running out of his throw, but he could pay a little more attention to the lane that the person with the disc is looking at. We're just going to let the clip play out here. We keep the disc moving and we just end up throwing into an unfortunate poach. All right, here's another turnover situation. Once again, maybe a little more urgency on getting to the hex shape that we should all know by now. Here, Steven doesn't set up in line with the disc and is a little bit in front, thus cutting off the deeps and forces him to get the disc moving backwards. This is the return pass opportunity by turning outward. Not a big deal, but Joe ends up doing the same thing back to him. Another turnover situation. This time we actually do a really good job of setting up quickly. Looks great. Our issue comes when we immediately break the shape by the hat and the handler becoming too angsty and running in front of the disc into the lane before the thrower looks at them. Similar situation here. Jonathan picks up the disc, and Raymond, as the hat, cuts up line a little too early, and it ends up clogging the downfield space. Cutting up line is fine, but it just has to be initiated by the thrower and make sure that the disc is in play and connection is there. Here's a clip with White on offense, just to see what they do well. Their handlers never rush ahead of the disc, and their cutters always look for the return pass and always turn inward, and it does really good things for their flow because they see opportunities to swing the disc, and downfield players are isolated. This is a really good moment from Tom where he throws it to Sonny, and he has the opportunity to go up line, but instead he checks downfield and sees that there are players that have a good shot at getting the disc, and he just backs up, giving them that space. Finally, this is a clip of us having some pretty nice flow ourselves when we followed some of those principles. Um, we had some pretty decent moments in the practice. We just had a few execution errors that piled up that might not have happened if we gave ourselves more options and like kept the space open for our teammates. For example, CT and Wilson do the right thing here. They connect with each other and set up an opportunity for a return pass. But because Josh covers that, CT gets an opportunity to swing it to the break side. Yeah, so my suggestion is we double down on holding to these principles, and we hold each other and ourselves accountable uh, to to do that and keep up a high level of focus and execution.